Alright, so I'm going to be showing how to open up and disassemble this ASUS, let's see, model UX501J. As you can see, the hinge broke off. So we're going to be trying to fix the other hinge back on with some JB Weld. These screws are actually loose, which usually is what happens, and which leads to the screws breaking. So I'm probably going to tighten this, and then we'll see. I'm probably going to take these screws out and JB Weld it directly in, since the plastic is all broken here. I could possibly put JB Weld, but like to hold these original things in place, but usually these end up breaking again, so it's better to just put JB Weld directly into it. In this case, for these screws, since it hasn't broken yet, I'm gonna put a tiny bit of thread locker there, and that way they hopefully won't come loose and then break in the future. Okay, so we're gonna put some thread locker, just a tiny bit, and this should hopefully prevent that from happening. If you don't have this issue where the hinge is broken, or you're just trying to see what's inside the computer, obviously you can just fast forward through, but for now I'm gonna put a little bit of thread locker in each one of these screws. There's 4 of them, so yeah. All right. Okay, anyways, if this video helps you out, please make sure to like, subscribe, share my channel with others so that they can learn how to upgrade and repair their devices as well. And if it helps you save a bunch of money, please consider contributing a little to the channel. Every little bit helps and allows me to continue making these videos for a living. If you can't help that way, it'd help a lot if you could watch a few of my other videos and then comment and like them, because that's what the YouTube algorithm likes to see. So yeah, alright, so we're just going to get the rest of these screws with JB Weld, and then we're going to go ahead and remove the bottom cover and remove the entire hinge thing here so that we can fix that. Apparently this hinge setup, it has like this extra metal bar that goes underneath the screen, so we are going to have to also pop the screen out of here to be able to fix that. Alright, so first things first, let's go ahead and get the bottom cover off. It looks like we're going to be using a T5 or Torx 5 screwdriver. Okay, so let me rotate this. I usually like to work on it where the hinge opening or the screen opening is facing towards me. Okay, and let's go ahead and get all these screws out. I don't know if there's any screws hidden underneath these rubber feet. There might be. A lot of times for these models, they like to hide screws. We'll find out once we get all these screws out and try and pop the cover off. Okay. Alright, again, if I didn't already mention, you want to keep the screws in order because they can be different size, shape, and length. And the way I do that is I put them flat side down like that on my desk in the pattern I remove them. So we got 4, 1 on each side, and then 4 more. Basically a rectangular shape. Okay, so let's go ahead and continue removing all these screws. Okay. And then we will pop the bottom cover off and get this thing worked on. Okay, the back feet might possibly have hidden screws, but we'll see, because sometimes they don't do that on these things. All right. Okay, we got all those screws out. Let's go ahead and pop the bottom cover off. It might help to use a suction cup. Let's try. I'm going to use my fingernail to hold down here and pull up, and it's popping up. So as you can see, the front is kind of popping up okay. So we don't really need to use any other special tools. I'm going to go over here to the back and pull up, and it looks like there's no screws. So it helps to kind of wobble it like that. And this bottom cover came off pretty easily, just like that. It is a little dusty under here, so I'm going to have to clean that up as well as with the fans. But we'll set that aside for now, and let's go ahead and pop the battery out. We're going to switch back over to the JAS1 screwdriver. And we're going to pop this out. The battery is just held in with a little like push down in place connector here. So usually the way I do that is I just get underneath, and we should be able to pop this up. We might have to go from the sides here, so over here, and then pop up, and you can see it popped out. All right, there we go. And normally what I do after disconnecting the battery, I would open the laptop and press and hold the power button, but let's go ahead and double check. You can see these screws are really loose here. So I'm going to put a little JB Weld, sorry, not JB Weld, a little thread locker there as well. Okay, because you don't want these screws coming loose. These screws coming loose can cause permanent damage, so you want to be very careful with that. Okay, so we'll get a little thread locker in there, and then we'll get the screw in and just tighten that down. Okay, same thing with the other 2. Yeah, it's really dusty here, so I am gonna have to clean those out. Actually, for now, I'm not gonna put the thread locker here because I think we are going to have to take the whole screen assembly out to work on it. So maybe I shouldn't have actually put thread locker there. We're gonna take those out. All right, so now that we got the battery disconnected, let's actually go ahead and remove the battery. Actually, let me get a thumbnail here. So let me get this centered. Okay, a few seconds so I can do a thumbnail. All right, and let's get the battery screws out. Okay, same thing, keep all the screws in order because they can be different size, shape, and lengths. Looks like there's 5 screws going across the top here. So let's get all these screws out. Alright, and the last one. Alright, now that we got all the screws out, we should hopefully be able to lift from here. Yep, and then slide it out this way, and there we go. Battery comes out. Battery model, if you need it, is right here on the bottom, C32N1415. All right, there's the battery model number. Okay, now I'm gonna take this outside, clean the dust off. The battery has some dust on the bottom, so I'm gonna brush that off into a trash can next to me. All right. Okay. So there we go, and let me clean the rest of it up real quick and I'll be back. See you guys in a bit. All right, so I'm back. One thing to take note of is there are screws hidden underneath the 2 rubber covers here. So I was right, but I don't know if the customer broke this before trying to get it out, because yeah, there's no way those screws would have just ripped out that easily like that. So as you can see, one screw's here and the other screw, the plastic is ripped through. So I have a feeling this screw, is it even gonna go in? Huh, so I guess they never even tightened the screw to begin with. So that screw just came out, as you can see, and then the other one here is holding on to a small piece of the broken plastic there. I don't think there's really a way to fix that broken screw mount, but we'll take that out and then we'll see. And yeah, this plastic is actually, as you can see, broken here. So let's see, I'll maybe put some super glue there and see if it holds in place, but I don't think so. All right, give me a second, I'll be back. All right, so I'm back. As you can see, this piece now holds on really well, okay? So we'll see, hopefully it will hold the screw as well. Anyways, we're gonna carefully open this up. Be careful since this is broken there. And I'm going to press and hold the power button for at least 15 seconds to drain any residual power. Alright, this makes it a lot safer to work on, especially since we're going to be removing the screen. It's actually very important to do this, alright? Only takes 15 seconds, and yeah, can save you hundreds or thousands of dollars depending how much your computer is worth to you. Alright, and yeah, so there we go. I'm going to clean off this junk here real quick. Okay. Alright, let's carefully close this back up. Be careful here. Alright, so one hinge is working okay, but we do need to get to the other one. I know a lot of people are probably just like wanting to know for the RAM. There's one stick here, pull these 2 tabs aside, pops up like that. There's no label on it, but this does appear to be DDR3 or PC3. I don't know what the speed is, but yeah, DDR3 RAM. So if you wanted to upgrade it, keep that in mind, it is DDR3. And yeah, okay, so we're gonna get this at an angle and then click that back down. I feel like the slot, for some reason, it doesn't go in as much as it should. That's kind of strange. I don't know, that's all it goes. Okay, anyways, you have the CMOS BIOS RTC real-time clock battery here. I'm going to just quickly show what's inside, right? Not going to be taking out everything, but the BIOS CMOS RTC real-time clock battery. All right, you also got a M.2. This looks like a PCIe NVMe SSD. All right, one screw, it pops up, you can pull it out just like the RAM. You got the keyboard connector here with the flip latch, keyboard backlight connector there, touchpad, trackpad cable there. You got this cable for, I don't think that's, yeah, that's not for the buttons, that's for the indicator activity lights or whatever you want to call those, notification, I don't know what you call those. All right, there's a big thing here. What is that? Let me see. So the battery takes this whole place, right? So you can't really fit anything else. Yeah. Okay, so I don't know what this big rubber pad here is for. It looks like there's a little push-in connector that's possible here. What else? Speaker connects, speaker connects right there, which goes to the other speaker all the way down there. That cable runs along and plugs into this speaker here. Speakers aren't held in with any screws. You can just pull them out. Right, there's this big golden orangish colored cable that goes from the board over here with the 2 USB ports, the SD card slot, and the headphone jack or 3.5 millimeter audio jack. All right, auxiliary port, whatever you want to call it. Connects to the motherboard with that cable. Also, the wireless card is on that board as well. So if something happens to the wireless, it could be the wireless card, could be this board, could be this cable. Yeah. All right, we're going to be removing that so we can get the hinge out, as well as the wireless antennas. I have to take note that it looks like the antennas go behind or underneath, though I'm not sure if it's supposed to go that way. Maybe. And that's important because once we glue this thing down, we're not going to be able to take it back out. Right, you got the LCD LVDS connector here. We're going to have to disconnect. Again, if you're going to mess with this cable, make sure you disconnected the battery, open the laptop, and press and hold the power button for at least 15 seconds. All right, we're going to get this cable out. Usually it doesn't really just come out just from pulling it, so I get underneath with my fingernail, and then on the corner I just pop it up just like that. All right, this cable we're going to wind or thread it out under here, and now we have this cable loose. We are going to have to open this and disconnect that. And usually the best way to remove the hinges is if you open the laptop to about 90 degrees, hang the screen over the edge of your desk, and then pop it out. But in this case, because the hinge is broken here, we're going to have to be extra careful. We're going to pop the antennas out first. So we got the black one connected here at the main, and then the white one is connected at the auxiliary. So I'm going to disconnect those. I just go at the tails and then just pull straight up. Okay. If it doesn't come out, sometimes it helps to kind of just wiggle it, but you do want to just kind of pull it straight up from the tail here. All right, just like this. Okay, and then we're gonna have to get this out from the tape area here. So let's peel up this tape. You want to carefully, slowly peel this tape out. All right, and there we go. You can see there are 3 screws here holding the hinge in place, so we're gonna get those 3 screws out. Okay, that one, this one. Again, keep the screws in order because they can be different size, shape, and length, and mixing them up can cause some damage. Even if the screws are exactly the same looking, I like to put the same screw back where I got it, just because sometimes there can be some slight differences. All right, we're going to get the hinge out now. Normally you can't get this hinge out like that. Normally you'd have to, again, open the laptop to about 90 degrees and then undo the screws, and then you can pop it out. So this one, I'm gonna hang over the edge of my desk here. I gotta be careful that I don't break the other hinge. So I'm holding the screen up from this side over here. Let me zoom out a tiny bit more, maybe. Okay. Okay, so I'm holding the screen up. We're gonna take out these 3 screws here. Okay, and I have to make sure that I put these screws back the right way. Like this, and the last screw. And you want to make sure to hold on to this thing tight that you don't accidentally drop the whole screen. Okay, last screw here. This one I put a little thread locker so it was a little bit harder to get out, but there we go. Okay, all right, now that we got all those screws out, we should be able to lift the hinge up and out, and there we go. We have this screen assembly here. Okay, so now that we've already looked at everything inside here, if you're wondering, this is the GPU underneath here, CPU's underneath here. You can't replace them or upgrade them. They are soldered to the motherboard. You got the fan connector, one there, and the fan should be removable if you take this connector out. This one, 3 screws. Okay, doesn't look like there's much else to talk about inside here. So let's go ahead and take a look at the screen. So the screen did have a piece of metal that goes underneath and into here. So let's see, how are we going to do this? So the old screen assembly was like this, and it goes underneath, it goes into here. And I guess it somehow tore itself out because it was shoved in there. But it looks like we can actually pop the screen out. If you see, I can pull on this and it's kind of like bulging here or budging. First thing we're going to do, we're going to remove all these screw mount pieces. All right, I'm going to use some pliers to hold on to the bottom and then just unscrew those. We're going to actually throw the screws away. This one most likely as well, because yeah, those are all broken. So let me hold on to that and then we're going to get the screws out. Okay, so just like this, we'll get the screws out. And we're just going to toss that stuff. We're not going to need it anymore, but we'll set it aside for now. Okay. All right, so we got that one screw, and then we got the 3 over here. And if you're wondering, this design is actually not too good. Now with all these computers, they're making the bezels too thin. There's way too much force being exerted onto these pieces here. And the hinges can't take that much force, so that's why these are all breaking. I might have to leave one of these in there just to kind of use as an alignment thing, but I don't know, we'll see. Let's take this screw out. Okay, and the last one here. Oops. Okay, so we got all those out. I'm pretty sure the metal got bent a little bit on this piece because this doesn't look straight. I think I'm probably going to have to bend it a bit, but this is going to end up going back in there, and then this goes here. So hopefully this will work right. It looks like the antenna wires go that way. I don't think they're supposed to go on top this way. So yeah. All right, let's go ahead and see if we can pop the screen out. We're gonna zoom out a bit here. I don't know if we're gonna be able to pop the entire screen out, but we'll see. There's a few screws under here that are holding this in place. 2 screws. We can also pop out the wireless antennas as well. So we'll get these 2 screws out. If you need to replace the wireless antennas, we can go ahead and unroute this cable. Oh, it looks like they actually tucked it underneath here somewhere, so we can't just pull this out. All right, let's see if we can pop the screen out of here. So I'm gonna go along the edge here, and I'm gonna push with my thumb on the back while pulling, and hopefully we can pop the screen out. And it looks like it's popping forward here, as you can see. Technically, we don't need to remove the entire thing, but yeah, give me a second, I'm getting a call, I'll be back. All right, I'm back. So as you can see, we're able to kind of pop this up a bit. All right, let's see, I wonder if we can pop the other side as well. So again, I'm gonna get under here with my fingernails and push on the back, and you can see it pops out just like that. Okay, going up the sides as well. And now we have this whole front piece popped up. Oh, this hinge is in the way, so we'd have to take these screws to get that out completely. I probably shouldn't have put the thread locker yet, but let's go ahead and take them back out. I guess we'll have to put some thread locker again on it, but I guess now we can also take a look at the condition of the screw mounts underneath. Okay, so we'll get these 4 screws back out. All right, some people are telling me not to use the red Loctite. There's different levels of it, but they were saying that makes it permanent, but as you can see, I can take these screws out, so not a big deal. Okay, so we got those, and can we even take this out? Doesn't it have that metal thing underneath like the other one? Huh. I guess this one, the screw mount's broken as well. So I guess normally you shouldn't be able to pop this out like that because this screw should be holding it down there. I'm probably going to have to use some JB Weld to lock this one into place as well, since this screw mount is also broken. All right, but let's see, we'll set that aside for now, and then we'll take a look. But yeah, I think normally this isn't supposed to come out. You're probably supposed to just pop it out along the entire edge here. But as you can see now, we can lift this whole screen up here. And yeah, normally you can see the clips. So you would actually pop all the clips all the way around, but you want to be careful here because the touchscreen digitizer connector is right there. All right, anyways, we're gonna set the screen aside for now, but again, if you're trying to pop the screen out, you would pop all these clips out, and then you would have to undo these screws down here to get the whole thing apart. Down here, it did have this bezel, but the customer, it like ripped out when the customer was, I guess, when the hinge broke. So let's see, which way does this go in here? Normally this has like a little sliding mechanism here, and you can kind of see how these have little hooks. I just have to figure out which side is supposed to be on top and which side is supposed to be underneath. But let's see here. Can we get this in? The antennas, let's put these back. There. Okay. So let's see if I can figure out which way this goes. If you have yours, you should be able to tell just from looking at it, but there you go. Okay, so as you can see, we can slide it in and then it locks into place. So normally once you get all the hinge and everything, or the screen out, you can take this piece and slide it over to that side towards the wireless antennas, and then you can pop this out. And if you're wondering, you can see this side with that goes towards the bottom of the screen, and then the flat smooth side goes towards the inside or the top. All right, so there we go. Now we need to figure out how to get this piece back in. So this would basically just be sitting in here, and then does this go on top like that? It looks like, yeah. And then I don't know if these wireless antennas were supposed to be underneath on this side, or if it just came out because of the way it broke, but it looks like this needs to go back over here somehow, and then this would slide over further here and it would sit in like this. So yeah, I'm probably going to have to leave in one of the little screw mounts just to kind of help align this better. And since this one has more of the plastic remaining, we'll probably put that one back. Okay, so we'll take a screw and we'll just put it through and try and fill that with JB Weld. Oop. Don't want to drop that and break it. All right. So we'll get the screw through here, and then we'll get this and we'll just tighten this screw into place. I'm going to use the pliers to help hold it better, and we should also clean this off a little bit so that the JB Weld can stick better. All right, so we're going to put that, and I'm going to use some isopropyl rubbing alcohol and a piece of paper towel. Okay. We're just going to clean this off a bit because we want to make sure that the JB Weld will stick on it. Okay, and we can also use a toothbrush to kind of help brush it better. All right, so we got this, and we're going to line that up just like that, and you can see how it will sit there. I might have to use, I don't know, if I put two of them, that might make it not have a good grip, but it might be necessary. Does this actually hold in here? Okay, so these ones actually hold in. You can see like the screw mount is actually holding well, somewhat. So maybe I'll leave these two since they are like the plastic is fully there, but normally I wouldn't because I feel like it will break again, but we'll see. I'll just flood the thing with a lot of JB Weld and hopefully that will be okay, because this will help line it up to where it's in the correct spot. And yeah, worst case, if it does break again, I can just put JB Weld, or take these out later and then put JB Weld in to flood it. Okay, so we are going to have to get this in, and we're going to also use JB Weld to hold that side down. Okay, and yeah, so now that we got that, we're just going to get a bunch of JB Weld and flood these things into place. And then after that, we do need to get the wireless antennas back under here. All right, I'm guessing I will put them underneath the way it was before. Okay, and I'll figure that out once we get all the JB Weld in. So I'm going to make sure these are tightened in place, and then we can actually loosen and tighten them as we go to help get them in properly. Okay, so we're going to need JB Weld to fill this, fill that, and then we're going to put some in here just to get it all into place. So let me get some JB Weld. This is a 2-part epoxy. You don't want to use some other like not too good epoxy. There are other kinds that don't hold very well. I'm telling you, JB Weld holds better than all of them as far as I've seen. If you can find something better, let me know, but so far that's the best I've seen. And using anything weaker, this plastic broke, you don't want to use something that's going to just break again like the plastic. Okay, so yeah, let me do that real quick. Give me a second, I got to respond to some messages. I'll be back to show you guys the JB Weld mixing. Okay, see you guys in a bit. All right, I'm back. So let's go ahead and mix up some JB Weld here. All right, so we got the white portion and then the black portion. Let's make sure it's going to kind of drip everywhere, so I got to be careful here. Okay. All right, when you mix this stuff, you want to be careful not to accidentally mix them in the tube. So we're going to kind of get this stuff out. Okay. All right, so we're gonna need quite a bit. Let's see, and that probably gonna need about that much. Maybe that's too much, but it's better to have a whole bunch and then worry about just dumping the rest later than to not have enough and then have to mix it midway while you're still working on it. Okay, so there we go. All right. Get that. We're going to clean off this so I don't accidentally contaminate it. Okay, and then I'm going to switch over to the other side. I'm going to get the black portion, and we're going to try and get as equal as amount as possible. Okay, bunch of this out, and there we go. Hopefully that's about equal. Okay, usually I can tell somewhat from mixing it after doing this so many times. I can tell from the color if it's too light or too dark. I can get close approximation. Okay, there we go. And now let's go ahead and stir the two portions together. So just grab it and mix it. All right. Right now it looks a bit dark, so hopefully I didn't put too much of the black portion. Oh, there we go. Okay, stir that back in. Mix the two portions better. Okay, just like this. Okay, just like that. Just like that. Alright, mix it all up, make it nice and even in color. You don't want it to have any little streaks. Okay, I like to mix using this clear back piece because then I can look underneath and see if it looks even or not. Okay. But you can see we mixed up quite a bit. There you go. Looks pretty even. Okay. Keep getting messages, so I might have to stop for a bit and respond to those, but let's go ahead now. We'll get this piece here. We are also going to have to put some here for that other piece. The one thing with this, I guess it should be fine. We can get the hinge in, and then we'll put the screen on top, because like I said, normally the hinges would have to come out after you completely remove the screen because the design where they put the screws under here. So I don't know if the customer tried to do this and then broke it, messed it up, but yeah, let's go ahead and fill this spot here. Okay, and we're just gonna goop it all on there. And this stuff you can like sand it down and stuff. If you accidentally overfill it, you can use tools to kind of cut it. So it works really well, okay, for this application. All right, so let's go ahead and get this piece back in, and hopefully, there you go. You can see it has a good amount there. We're gonna get the 4 screws back in. I guess I'll put the thread locker later. For now, we're just gonna tighten these in, and then I'll come back and do the thread locker later, because I want to make sure everything fits well before we make sure the screws are tightened in really strong. Okay, so we'll get these 4 screws in, and then we're gonna have to get the JB Weld to kind of wrap over that whole thing. Okay. All right, we got those 4 screws in. Let's go ahead now and kind of get the JB Weld to kind of wrap over here. You don't want it flowing out too much over. You kind of want to try and keep it flat if you can, because again, the stuff is going to go on top of this, and you don't want it having a giant lump underneath, preventing it from closing all the way. Okay. Usually what I do is after I finish, I put, well, I guess we'll do that, is I put some saran wrap on top, or plastic wrap, and that way when we put the screen on top, it will just have just enough room and it won't stick out or anything. So that's the best way to do it, and let me do that real quick. Alright, got some thin plastic film here, so I'm just going to cut a piece of this, and we're going to cover where the JB Weld is, just like that. So that way when the screen goes on top, it will just keep it flattened and it won't be in the way. Alright, just kind of overlapping on itself, so I need to unwrap it. Okay. Alright, sorry for this extra time taking to try and do this, but alright. Next, we're going to fill up these 4 holes here. Give me a second, I am getting messages. I'll be back. Alright, I'm back. Let's go ahead and fill these little holes here, and then we're going to have to get that other hinge on. Okay. So you gotta be careful not to overfill this too much, because you don't want it to flow out here, and then you won't be able to put the little hinge cover on top. So we're gonna get this, fill that up, and then we'll fill up this area with the broken mount there. Okay. Fill this area up. Okay, we can fill up this area as well. Fill up that spot as well. Just like that. And then we'll fill up the last spot here. Alright, let's go ahead and get the other hinge into place. Get that in, and then line that up, smush that down, and we're probably going to have to undo the screw and then retighten it to get it to go in right. Okay, just like this. Okay, there we go. Alright, as you can see, the JB Weld is oozing out the top. That's what we want. we're gonna have to put more in these because these sides aren't really oozing out. Okay, just like that. Okay, and if you push too much in, it will ooze out the side here, so be careful not to put way too much. We're going to have to fix that up, so when we cover it, it's not going to cause any problems. And usually what I like to do is I like to put extra on top and then just smush it down here to get it to go in, and then we will fix the sides here afterwards. Okay. Like this. Perfect. Okay. Got plenty of this. We'll fix this and then we'll put the plastic wrap to hold it better. Here you can see the JB Weld that's oozing out the sides, so you do kind of want to clean that up a bit. Oh, I think I'm getting a phone call. Okay, give me a second, let me take that call and I'll be back. Alright, so I'm back. Let's go ahead and take a closer look here again. Alright, so this one is going to need a lot more. So the small one over here is going to need way more. Let's go ahead and fill that up. And be careful not to get the thing on it. Trying to avoid getting the wireless antennas on it. Alright, so let's go ahead and continue filling this stuff up here. Okay, we're going to need a lot more. And you'll know you have a good amount is when you try and push the stuff under and it comes out the top. Okay, so that's how we know it's filled up pretty well now. Okay, and that's pretty good. Okay, so that's good there. And then we also have up here, you can see it's kind of oozing out, so let's try and get that as well. Very careful with that. Okay. Get some of this out and kind of have it hold over the sides here. Alright, and then we're going to have to put the plastic wrap on top, so that way when we slide the thing over, it will push it out of the way and it won't end up messing it up. So let's get the plastic wrap here. Okay. I might actually need a bigger piece, so that probably won't work. Let me get a longer piece here. Okay. And we're gonna have a bigger piece that kind of wraps over. We could always pull it out later. Oops, did I just drop it? Let me cut another piece. I just dropped the piece I cut. Sorry about this. Hopefully you kind of get the idea, and then you'll be able to do this on yours. All right, so we got this piece. We're just going to wrap it over the edges, just like this. All right, let's also get the wireless antennas into place. Okay, because once we put this down, we're not going to be able to get it back out. Oops, I got a little on the wire. We're going to have to cover that as well. So let's cover that one as well. Alright. Okay. Go, cover that up. And let's go ahead and get the wireless antennas into place, just like this. Alright, get that underneath and back over. Do these need to go up over here? So the way I found it was like that, so I don't know if it actually needs to be like that, but that's how it was. So that's how we'll put it. We'll wrap this back on top, and then we need to get that plastic bezel piece and slide that into place. So we'll get the plastic bezel now. Okay, and again, we'll start over to the, was it that way? Okay, we start further over to the wireless antennas this way. Then we'll lower this down and then crunch that on top. But I guess let's go ahead and get the screen. So the screen goes like this, goes into place here. Okay, just like that. Line it all up. Then we can go ahead and click all of this into place. Okay, click the sides in as well. It's important you click it all down. Click that all down, perfect. Okay, then we had the 3 screws down here that we need to put back, so we'll put those, sorry, was there 3 or 2? I think there was just 2. Okay, so we'll put these 2 screws back here. That one and this one. And we're gonna have to leave this alone to completely set before we put the rest back. But for now, let's actually do the thread locker for this. We don't need to put thread locker here because those are just JB welded into place now at this point. Okay, so we're gonna get not the JB Weld, the thread locker here. Okay, put a tiny bit and tighten that screw down. And we're going to do that for all 4. Okay, this will prevent those screws from coming loose and getting damaged in the future. Okay. Take this one back out. And once this sets, we just got to screw it all back together. But for now, I'm just going to stop with putting the bezel on, and then we have to let the JB Weld completely cure before we put the thing back together. So one more JB Weld thread locker there. Close that up. Okay, so we got all those screws in place, got all those in place. Let's go ahead and get the bezel back on top. All right, what did I do with that? I was just holding it. Go. Okay, get the bezel back in. So again, this goes over to the side a little bit, then it goes down on top. Come on, why isn't it lining up right? Oh, I went too far over. Okay, line that up and then slide that over, and now this is locked in place. And you can see we have this plastic piece, oops, sorry, this just loose there. When it's done setting, we'll slide this back over, peel that off, and then we should be good to go. Okay, this piece, because the thing ripped out, got a little dent there in the plastic, but can't really do anything about that unless we replace this whole piece, so we're gonna leave that as is. All right, so we gotta let this sit overnight. This stuff takes about 15 hours to completely cure. We'll let it sit overnight, basically about 24 hours. Then we'll take this out, put the whole screen, reinstall it back into place, and we should be good to go. All right. I don't know if I put this cable on upside down, if it's supposed to be over this piece or under. We'll see when we go to plug it back in if it fits okay, but this goes on like that for sure. So actually that lines up right, so I think that should be good. All right, we'll see you guys in 15 hours or so. Bye for now. All right, should have had enough time to set now. So let's go ahead and see if we can take the plastic off. So you can see we can slide that off easily. And this plastic comes out easily as well. And now we're just going to put this thing back on. We're going to leave the other plastic underneath because we don't really need to take that out. All right, the screws and everything are already all in. Let's go ahead now and put the thing back together. So we have the keyboard cover there. We're going to zoom out a bit so hopefully you can see. All right, we're going to now get this over here, line it all up. Okay. Pull it a little further off the edge of the desk, and then got to get this to drop in on both sides. Okay, and get that tape out of the way. All right, now we got to get the screws back in. Hopefully I remember which ones go where. I think if I remember correctly, there was a silver one on this one, so hopefully I'm putting that right. So like this. Okay, then we got the two black ones here. Let's see here, we'll get that screw in, and then we'll tuck this cable underneath. It helps to actually loosen this a little bit to get the cable under easier, just like that. Tighten that in, and then we'll tighten this down. And we probably should also put some thread locker on here to make sure these screws don't come loose. But let's get everything back together first, and then we will work on that, okay? And then we got the other screws here. Right here. Okay. This one here. Last one here. Okay, now let's see. We're gonna slowly, carefully close the screen. So I'm gonna put it with the screen side down here and slowly close it. And you can see it's holding up, perfect. Okay, we'll flip this back over and let's go ahead and add a little thread locker here. We'll reconnect this cable first. Make sure there's no gunk there. Line that up and click that in. Perfect. Okay. Next, we're going to take the screws out, and then we're going to put some thread locker. Oops, let me mute my phone real quick. Okay, so we'll take this out. Let's add some thread locker here. Okay. This will prevent it from coming loose and will help it hold a lot stronger, because when these things come loose, it kind of pries it out, and you don't want that happening. Okay. So we're just going to tighten all these screws back in. And you only need a little bit of this stuff. You don't need to coat the entire screw. Okay, got those three in. Let's go ahead and redo these as well. Make sure they hold in. Okay. Alright, you can put the tape back on. You do want to not cover this screw hole there, so I'm going to push it down there. Okay, last two screws here. This one. And the last one here. And we should be good to go. Now we got to get the screws back in. Alright, so let's zoom in again a little bit here. Let's actually zoom in a lot for you guys to see how to do the wireless antennas. So I'm going to flip this over. Okay, and the black wire goes to the, oh, I guess let's peel this up because it goes on top of the wires. So the black wire goes to the main and the white one goes to the auxiliary. Okay. So auxiliary and the main. this, click it in, make sure you have it completely lined up before pressing it down. You'll know it's lined up because it'll get caught on the connector, okay, like that, and then it doesn't really move around, and then click that down, okay, there we go. Make sure that stays over there, and get that. All right, now I think all we have left is the battery and all the bottom screws. Okay, so we'll line this up. Zoom out a little more, come on, there we go. All right, so get that. Now we just need to put back the battery here. Okay. Battery, you do need to slide this in so that the little feet at the bottom can go into place. Drop that down and then line this up and just click that down into place, okay? And get all those last few screws in and then get the bottom cover on. Be careful now, since the battery's connected, you don't want to accidentally short it on anything. Okay, that's a couple screws. And this one. Alright, so we got all of that. Now we'll get the bottom cover back on. Just get it lined up. It doesn't seem there's really any clips except for back in the back here. Okay, the front doesn't really have clips. And then we'll get these screws back in. Excuse me. Okay, get all those screws back in and then just line this up and push it down into place. Is this off center? No. Okay. So just line that up, get that in, and push those down. Get those rubber feet back into place, and then get the last few bottom screws back in, switching back to the T5 or Torx 5 screwdriver. And then we should be able to just power it on and everything should work. Alright. All these screws in. Few screws and we should be good to go. Alright, there we go. Let's go ahead and open it up and see if it powers on. I don't know if the battery is charged, but hopefully it should be good. Alright, open this up, power it on. I did see the power light blink, so should be good. The light is solid now. Alright, and there we go. You can see the ASUS logo. The brightness is kind of dim. I don't know if they turned it down or if it's just... Oh, yeah, okay. Now the brightness is good, and you can see it's on. And that's pretty much it. Hopefully this video helped you guys out. If it did, please make sure to like, subscribe, share my channel with others so that they can learn how to upgrade and repair their devices as well. And if it helped you save a bunch of money, please consider contributing a little to the channel. Every little bit helps and allows me to continue making these videos for a living. If you can't help that way, it would help a lot if you could watch a few of my other videos and then comment and like them as well. That's pretty much it. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you on the next one. All right, let's drop this. Bye.